All right, so season 14 is in the books, and the strategy has a lot of data on it now. After combing through it, I think there are 7 main lessons to be learned. Lesson number 1, and this one's for me: trust yourself and put your foot down. Not everyone playing knew the strategy, and worse, not everyone was bought into the strategy. I need to remind myself that I've put a lot of time and effort into coming up with these calculations and things of that nature to make sure that I know what I'm talking about.
Nerd alert!
And that sticking to the plan is either going to prove or disprove the plan. Still, when someone who's made their living off of a game for years speaks, I listen. In this case, I feel like I should have pushed back a little harder than I did, and ultimately, it does look like it made us slower in the long run. There was not an intentional sabotage by any means, but considering the source is important. I was working with resources the likes that others had never actually seen before. Pushing to 99 for most is about funneling gear to a single player and then letting that character do everything in terms of farming their XP. But we're not siloed into that mindset. And for others, it felt tough to break out of. So I just need to stick to my guns. Lesson number 2. Throne prep from 75 to 94 works. It's not exactly a new strategy, but for the first time we had enough humans to pull it off. We've got to keep this going for each push that we do in the future. Now what this graph is showing is that even though our Season 12 Mosaic Sin was faster to level 89, probably because of the playthrough, and also that she's just more powerful at level 75 because Mosaic, the Zon really started to pull away after level 89, which is even more impressive considering the further you get from level 1, the harder it is to gain XP. I will say that during this time, I want to put more priority on team leveling. Not everyone can do hell difficulty on minimal gear at level 79. We tried to rush farm items like keys and statues, but the reality is we probably went slower in the long run because of deaths and difficult situations for the underleveled and undergeared teammates trying to do this farming. Let's make the team more self-sufficient before we start hunting our treasures. Lesson number 3. Don't kill trash. Don't kill act bosses. No matter how pretty a pile of trash is, it's a pile of trash. Don't do it. I spent way too much time running through the chaos and killing piles of trash that I definitely shouldn't have been doing that. Act bosses too, waste of time. You just wait for them and wait for them and wait for them to spawn, and you could be in many other games. The game count could have been much higher had we not spent that time waiting for those act bosses. Maybe a world exists where you run away from a boss and somebody else spawns it and you do something and then you come back to kill the boss. I don't know, I'll do some math. Lesson number 4, spend your resources. We were worried about running out of resources, so we stopped doing certain things or we didn't do certain things fast enough. We stopped blasting top tier XP when we thought we were going to run out of Act 5 Worldstone shards. Lo and behold, we finished the push with 20 plus Act 5 Worldstone shards. Resources like that, we should try to be running on empty with. We want to be collecting them and spending them at the same rate. Something we realized that we could not have known ahead of time is that the shards didn't really hold much trade value. So hoarding them just leaves us holding a bag of shards at the end. So there really isn't a reason to not use all of your Act 1 Worldstone shards or Act 2 Worldstone shards, even if all you're doing is killing Andariel. Make it a TZ Andariel kill. If all you're doing is killing Mephisto, make it a TZ Mephisto kill. The shards are going to replenish themselves, and we're not going to be able to trade them away for anything useful, so we might as well just use them. We got to make sure that we don't end the push with any extra resources like that lying around. Unless, of course, we're winning, and then it's fine. We also had an Ancient's Jewel really early, but we didn't use it right away because we didn't know what piece of gear to put it in. We should have just jammed it in something and started getting that benefit right away. We can farm as many jewels as we need to. We farmed plenty of jewels throughout the push. We got to make sure that we're utilizing those resources as soon as possible. Lesson number 5. Wrangling works. But it has to be deliberate and dedicated. You've got to commit. Wrangling means bringing boss groups together. And I'm not talking about 1 or 2. I'm thinking now maybe 3 or more. Originally, I did say make sure you have at least 2, but I think that was wrong. I think you want 3 or more. And if you're unable to wrangle a zone for any reason, bad mob type, can't get the mobs around corners, whatever, just skip it. Try again in the next zone. We should always be able to wrangle CS. We're always going to be prepping the throne room, so we're always going to be getting some value out of every game. It's not like if the wrangle fails, it was a waste of a game. The main goal of wrangling is to take the time spent finding boss groups and instead spend that time TP hopping instead, with the idea being it'll take less time for me to walk through a town portal than it will be for me to teleport around and find each individual group. Which means that if you're hopping through a ton of TPs, or if you go through a TP and the XP on the other side isn't great, you haven't reduced the time spent finding boss packs, you've just replaced it. And that doesn't give you any gains. Load screens are real, and over the course of 600 plus games, we are going to need to maximize the TPs that we're taking. Lesson number 6. Wrangling and real estate share the same 3 major factors. Location, location, location. Wrangling Act 1 was wrong. That was a thing that we theory crafted. I was wrong about it. We tried it because we knew we would have a surplus of Act 1 Worldstone shards, and we were trying to stockpile the Act 4 and 5 Worldstone shards. But the harsh reality is that those areas don't produce the right mob types for wrangling. Yes, they're big open spaces, and yes, you need a big open space. But if the monsters don't chase you, you're going to have a tough time pulling them together. You need to go somewhere where you've got aggressive mob types that will run you down. And a lack of light immunes is a pleasant bonus. Act 4 worked out great for wrangling, and some zones of Act 5 were pretty solid for wrangling as well. I'm going to collect some more data on the best zones for wrangling. And the final lesson, number 7, is we had a bad order of operations. And before we start on that, let's first say that running the chaos ain't it. I was hoping to get taxied through the chaos. Someone suggested I run the chaos because it's good XP. I spent way too much time in the chaos running around, and that was ultimately the slowest part of our push. The order we did choose to do things in was run the chaos, clear some wrangle TPs, go to a prep throne, and then maybe clear some more wrangle TPs. The idea was that while the chaos was being run, that would give the rest of the team time to get their wrangling and throne prepping completed. And while this worked, it was slow. Instead, I think we want to have pre-prepped throne rooms. Now this is going to require 9 people. And then the order of operations can be throne room, wrangle TPs, wrangled chaos. The throne has a set timer for waves, which means the wranglers know exactly how long they're going to have to do the wrangling. And I do think the chaos will take the longest, and it'll probably take longer than waves 2 through 5 in the throne room, but that's why you save it for last. If we can get that timing down, then that should really help smooth out the runs and streamline the XP graph. If you watched or participated and you've got any ideas on other lessons that we might have been able to take away from our strategy in Season 14, I'd love to hear them in the comments section below. And that's all I've got for now, and I'll see you on the leaderboards.